Bertemu kembali di ketika normal baru ini, banyak syarikat yang melihat kepada platform e-dagang untuk memasarkan produk mereka. Namun menurut laporan Black Box Research dan juga risikan pengguna Toluna, biarpun dengan peningkatan e-dagang, 43% pengguna Malaysia menyatakan mereka kurang berpuas hati dengan pengalaman belian ini. Ini termasuk isu seperti masa penghantaran kos dan juga harga. Kita ingin melihat kepada pengurusan dan jangkaan pengguna, terutama dengan peningkatan perusahaan yang menggunakan platform e-dagang bersama dengan pengarah urusan Everpix, Joakim Sebastian ataupun Joe. Everpix menyediakan perkhidmatan end-to-end kepada pemilik jenama untuk pengurusan e-dagang mereka, daripada pelan perniagaan kepada logistik. Izinkan saya meneruskan perbincangan dalam bahasa Inggeris. Joe, thank you for joining us. Joe, because of the pandemic, many companies have started to look at e-commerce as and other digital means to stay in business and expand. We heard and we've read about the report that Black Box Research and also Toluna published recently. Despite the rise in e-commerce, 43% of consumers are not very happy with, or not very satisfied with their e-commerce experience. Tell us what happened, and from experience, is this because these companies are spending too fast?
I don't think so. It's about spending too fast. But one of the issues that has occurred is that the infrastructure that supports e-commerce, which derives from, number one, the service providers, the logistics, the warehousing and all that, are not tested on throughput. So when you have a situation such as the pandemic, which increases demand at such a rapid pace, it's going to stress the system. And when the system is stressed, you get delayed deliveries, you get sellers who are pushing product but unable to provide customer support. They're unable to answer questions from customer queries and things like that, and that degrades the customer experience. So with the intensity of the pandemic, I mean, no one was ready for this when it occurred, from Malaysia to Southeast Asia, even in the US of A, right? So that's stressing the ecosystem. And when the ecosystem is stressed, it takes time to build assets to support the baseline infrastructure, and that's what's occurring right now.
So these are some of the challenges that the companies face so far.
Oh, definitely.
Tell us more about that.
So companies in Malaysia, number one, they generally execute a very basic e-commerce strategy, which is listing the product online and being on a platform, one of the marketplaces or their website, or enabling some e-commerce payment gateways on their own website, right? But e-commerce in general is a much more holistic, I guess, portfolio of strategy, right? You've got content, you've got platforms, you've got technology, you've got marketing, you've got your full range of e-commerce requirements. And what has happened now is that they've executed a very basic strategy without thinking it through. And when you do not have a resonance with your market, you did not think your buyer personas or your marketing strategy through, e-commerce doesn't translate. And
so
that's
no proper ecosystem in that sense?
Ecosystem is one thing, but baseline fundamentals, like the general Malaysian entrepreneur is thinking about sales, but they are product owners, they are manufacturers or brand owners, and they're not used to executing a holistic e-commerce strategy. And that's what really is frustrating.
Speaking of execution, right, buzzword right now is digitalization.
Yes.
And can this translate to better sales? Because you mentioned that there are many aspects to e-commerce, from receiving the orders to sending out to customers receiving the orders. What steps can companies take to ensure that the investments that they put in into digitalization will bear fruit in the future?
I think the first step is education. Top management, number one, needs to understand the spread of e-commerce. It's not such a simple thing where I have 2 staff handling e-commerce. No, you have 7 people handling customer support, graphics, content, marketing, maybe strategy, and also monitoring, right? So it's very specific job roles. So buy-in from top management is the first thing. Second thing is resources to expand operations. There's no point having the owner of the company working on 7 different jobs at the same time. You've got to have the people to do the job, you've got to have the thought process, and most importantly, patience and time. These platforms take time to grow. You can't expect investing today into an e-commerce platform and getting profit tomorrow. Same as when you open a retail store, there's CAPEX investments, there's OPEX investments. So you got to do the renovation, you've got to do marketing, you've got to get people through the door. Same thing as e-commerce. But what most companies misunderstand is that they have a mechanism of a quick win or easy money, and that's what frustrates them, and they don't take the longer journey.
But how has e-commerce changed during this pandemic period or COVID-19 period? Has it changed? Has consumers' expectations changed?
Oh, definitely. I'm talking about two segments here, right? So one is the local e-commerce segment, and again, our specialization, which is bringing brands to the US and European markets. Now, both these markets have moved in a very interesting way, which is you get to see a demographic that has been resistant to e-commerce, the older age group, which generally don't trust e-commerce. They don't want to put their credit card on an e-platform and things like that. And also the tech resistant, the ones that they're young, but they don't want to get involved. They're very insecure about their data, or they don't trust the platforms and things like that. These two demographics now, because of the pandemic and because they're forced to transact, especially in Malaysia, such as, you know, all these food delivery platforms, during the MCO period, you had no choice. You had to order takeaways and it's very expensive, but because of necessity, now you've got the credit card details or the bank details or the registration details of this whole population of resistant people. And now, because they're on the platforms, they have data available to be marketed to and to be sold to. So that's a huge new population available for any brand owner who's able to exploit the e-commerce ecosystem.
But are these brand owners managing it well in terms of managing the expectations of these newly converted groups well?
No, I would say no. They're not really exploiting it very well. Number one, again, because they are innately not e-commerce native, they don't understand a lot of the nuances. They take a very shallow approach, right? This is our experience with Malaysian SMEs. Not all, mind you. There are some doing really well, but the majority of them are suffering in terms of understanding what it takes. And then when they realize the amount of resources they have to put in, and then they pair it with subpar execution from potential service providers or potential staff or people in the team that may not have been trained properly within this ecosystem, then you've got a degradation of performance across multiple platforms, and that then gets them very frustrated and jaded, and they say, e-commerce is rubbish, you know, it doesn't work for us, it's not what they say it is. But the companies that do, massive growth, massive growth.
Joe, let's take a short break. When we come back, let's talk about whether, based on what you said earlier, are these companies ready to expand regionally? Let's talk about that shortly. Kita akan berehat seketika, kembali selepas ini. Bertemu kembali dan bersama dengan Joe daripada Everpix. Joe, let's talk about whether these companies are ready to expand regionally based on what you mentioned earlier.
Okay, there are a lot of companies that, again, they're not really prepared in terms of packaging, in terms of logistics service, and in terms of the overall strategy of how to acquire customers in different countries. Yeah, there are many companies that are not prepared. The big ones are, but there are a huge amount of programs and support that the Malaysian government has rolled out from agencies such as MDEC, especially Martrade, and even one of our partners, Profisio, right, who runs programs that educate the entrepreneurs and businesses on how to get to the market. They provide expert support, they provide expert advice, and these are things that companies can take advantage of. You don't need to know everything, but you need to know where to find that information.
But from what you said earlier, it seems like a very challenging prospect for companies to go into e-commerce and do it successfully.
Well, it's not as simple as a lot of people assume. It is a very large ecosystem. If you're talking about the Facebook ecosystem, the Instagram ecosystem, the Google ecosystem, keyword analysis, strategy, content, product. So most of the time, brand owners and manufacturers, they are specialists in their field. I make a great product. I make the best kuih bahulu, kan? But how do I sell it on e-commerce? I know how to cook. I don't know e-commerce. So having that spread is a challenging expectation of entrepreneurs in today's day and age. Yes, it's essential. Yes, it is a must-have skill, but whether are we prepared as a country, as an ecosystem? No, I don't think so. We're ready to push with the SMEs to go regionally immediately, but the programs are there, so we got to connect the SMEs with these programs and nurture the growth. You can't just give them a piece of paper and say, do this, and you're going to succeed. You've got to go with them because these platforms are complicated. Operational excellence is severely lacking, right? How do I click this button? What does this button do? If I click that, what's the implication? If I sell to US, what are the tax requirements? If I sell to UK, how do I, as an SME who cannot afford very expensive consultants overseas to be tax agents, how do I solve this problem? So these are very granular operational issues that the answers are there. but we just got to keep connecting, keep growing, keep nurturing the ecosystem.
And this goes back to what Black Box and Toluna said earlier, which is that the customer experience, which has to be really good for them to be able to motivate them to go online and to search for products that they want.
Definitely, and something really important to realize is the expectation of the Malaysian customer and the expectation of a US customer is completely different. Like in US, a 30-day returns policy is essential. It's no questions asked. But in Malaysia, returns, there's a debate and there's some animosity there between seller and buyer. Hey, no, don't return. Hey, no, I want to return. But it doesn't occur in such a rapid rate, right? So it's a very different strategy across, and especially when you talk about regions which have a very large emphasis on localization, language, and culture. It's a complex area, Southeast Asia.
We want you to share your wisdom with PKS, SMEs out there who are looking to go into e-commerce. What is the biggest mistake for them if they want to go into e-commerce? What's the biggest mistake they can do right now?
Going in unprepared, I think that will cause a lot of costs to be incurred without the appropriate return. So without a right strategy, without a right structure, without a proper funnel for e-commerce, you're going to be burning a lot of marketing spend. And Facebook and Google, they're the biggest platforms in the world for export or global communities, but they're not very kind. They're not going to say, "Oh, poor thing, you spent $100,000. I'm going to pat you on the back and give you half back because you didn't get sales." No, it doesn't work that way. You're going to burn a lot of money. You're going to get frustrated. You're going to run out of resources, and then you're going to fail in your e-commerce expansion. So those are the frustrations that we've dealt with across the years that we've done e-commerce in the ecosystem.
Tell us about your ECF, your equity crowdfunding campaign. You've received about more than 400,000 US dollars. Tell us about what you want to do with that.
So, well, as we journeyed in e-commerce across the 7 years, we realized that e-commerce is one half of the equation. The other half that is essential to e-commerce performance is logistics. It is no point you sell something to someone if they can't receive the goods anywhere in the world. So, Everpeaks as a business, we expanded our foray into the logistics arm of providing access to the Southeast Asian market for brands overseas. So we do both ways. One, from Malaysia to go to the global markets of Australia, UK, US, and Europe. And we also offer a pathway for the brands from those countries to come into Southeast Asia through our integrated e-commerce warehouse. So they can provide Malaysia as a distribution hub. And that's why we raise our funds on Pitchin, one of the best platforms for equity crowdfunding that we've worked with.
And you raised that money quite recently, right?
Yeah,
during the MCO. Tell us how you did that, because I think during the MCO people were just a bit scared to go out and to sell their ideas out there. How did you get investors and funds to come in during the MCO?
Well, investors at that period, they're looking for shark deals, right? Companies are not doing so well. It's a good time to invest and get a good ROI. Plus, we've been in market for quite a bit, and we've worked the scene a lot, many months before we began our ECF campaign. So it's a lot of background work that we did to enable the success, and that's something that companies mustn't assume that it's just, hey, I'm going to list on Pitchin and I'm going to get investors coming in. It's a lot of work, and most of these investors are people that we know that we nurtured across time, right?
Okay.
So that's what we did. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Joaquin Sebastian, for joining us. Joaquin Sebastian daripada Everpeaks membincangkan berkenaan dengan e-dagang dan juga platform tersebut ketika tempoh COVID-19 dan juga bagaimana syarikat boleh masuk ke dalam e-dagang. Itu sahaja laporan kami daripada Niaga Awani. Teruskan bersama kami di Astro Awani. Berita segenap dimensi. Salam hormat.